Our today's topic is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Nelson Mandela was born on 18 July 1918 in the village of Ghose in the Eastern Cape. He served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. Nelson Mandela is one of the great moral and political leaders of our time. An international hero whose lifelong dedication to the fight against racial oppression in South Africa won him the Nobel Peace Prize and the presidency of his country. This lesson, titled Long Walk to Freedom, is the 1994 autobiography of Nelson Mandela, detailing his ascent from an anti-apartheid activist and Robben Island jailed terrorist to an ANC leader and a cultural icon. This autobiography illustrates and interprets the theme of struggle for freedom. With the help of theories, the study examines how Mandela showcases his individual role as well as the role of all the oppressed in the struggle in his autobiography. Let me give you a short summary of this chapter, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918. He was the first South African president to be elected in a fully representative democratic election. 10th of May was a day of freedom for South Africa, and there was a huge gathering of international leaders and dignitaries at the swearing-in ceremony which was held in Union Building in Pretoria, and the first non-racial government took charge. Nelson Mandela gave a speech on the victory of justice, peace and human dignity. Mandela pledged to liberate his people from poverty, suffering and discrimination. A colorful show by jets and helicopters depicting military's might and loyalty took place. 2 national anthems were sung to signify equality and inclusion. The old Cozy Signal by the whites and the new Day Stem by the blacks. A new system was formed that recognized the rights and freedom of all. Mandela recalled the contributors and thanked them for their sacrifices. Salutation to some great freedom fighters: Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthuli, Yusuf Dadoo and others. Mandela in his address said that a country is rich because of its people, not because of the minerals. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the victory over it. People should love others, not hate them, due to their color or religion. Love comes naturally, not by force, which is the natural goodness. He also said that man should try to create a balance between his duties. Duties towards his family and duty towards his country and community. A black person was treated badly and not allowed to perform his duty. Mandela said that freedom has different aspects, like for a kid it is to run and play, and for an adult it is to fulfill needs of his own and his family. Real freedom means equal rights for everyone. Nelson Mandela joined the African National Congress. He wanted that people of South Africa must live with dignity and respect. He wanted the oppressor and the oppressed to be liberated. Patience and perseverance guided by discipline and system, yield the desired result. Before we start our lesson, we should know what apartheid is. Apartheid is a political system that separates people according to their race. In this extract from his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, Mandela speaks about a historic occasion, the inauguration, which took place on 10th May 1994. So during this inauguration, Mandela becomes South Africa's first black president. I would like to read to you a bulletin that was published about his oath-taking ceremony. It read, Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of white rule. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress ANC party won 252 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Buildings Amphitheatre in Pretoria today, attended by politicians and dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. Nelson Mandela, in his address, said, Never, never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another. Jubilant scenes on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony with blacks, whites and coloreds celebrating together. Many South African men, women and children of all races sang and danced with joy. Let us now read together the first paragraph. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders on South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union Buildings in Pretoria. For decades, this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. This means that it was 10th May, the day of oath with a bright and shiny sun. Nelson Mandela was to take oath as the first black president of South Africa. A large number of leaders, all from around the world, had gathered there to be the witness of the swearing-in ceremony of Nelson Mandela as the first black president. The inauguration ceremony took place in a big open building in Pretoria where the first democratic non-racial government was to be installed. Here we have the word meanings. Apartheid is a policy of racial segregation. Autobiography, life story of a person written by himself. Amphitheatre, large open theatre. Dignitaries, important persons. Oppression, torture. Jubilant, joyful. Dawned, began. Besieged, surrounded. Decades, period of 10 years. Installation, placement.